Welcome to day 60 of the 100-day mindfulness challenge. My name is Miss Steer, and today we are going to consider transition and change in 2020 and what we can and can't control. Right, so summer holidays are fast approaching, and I know that a lot of students at the minute are dealing with quite a few uncomfortable, difficult thoughts relating to transition, relating to leaving school for summer and coming back and being in a different class. This is always a time of year when we talk about change and transition, and it's always a time of year that results in people feeling uncomfortable feelings. However, because 2020 has been just such a strange and unusual year, and because so many things have changed this year, we're bound to feel more of those thoughts and feelings than we normally would. Luckily, mindfulness is here to help. So, what I want you to do first of all is to actually pay attention to these thoughts. And we're going to do a little bit of a free thinking meditation where we kind of direct ourselves towards thinking about coming back to school in September. And I just want you to notice what thoughts do come up. If there's anything that feels too difficult, too uncomfortable to stay with, then you can always bring your attention back to your breath. But I would love it if you could really give this a go and try and notice what kinds of thoughts are there when you think about transition. Okay, let's give the meditation a go. So bring your shoulders up towards your ears, squeeze, release, and feet on the ground, nice and upright and awake but relaxed. When you're ready, let your eyes close. Just begin by noticing your breath. Notice the weight of your body as you sit. Notice your feet on the floor. And I want you to direct your thoughts now to the idea of leaving school for summer and coming back in September. And I just want you to notice what thoughts come up, what thoughts pass by, like clouds in the sky, like a TV channel you happen to have turned on. What kinds of thoughts come up when you think about this? What kinds of questions? These thoughts don't need to mean anything. We're just watching and noticing what comes up. Just notice. And bring your attention back to your breath now. Begin to notice the sounds in the room. When you are ready, allow your eyes to open. What I'd like you to do now is to share with somebody else, share any kinds of thoughts that came up for you relating to going back to school in September, to moving up classes, and anything related to that change. If you're on your own, it will really help to write down those thoughts. In fact, even if you're with other people, then it'd help to write down those thoughts even before you talk about them. So if you want to make time for that, of course you can. If you are speaking to somebody else, then really try a mindful conversation and use what we've said this week about body language and tone of voice to try and put a noun into action. Let's say the noun is attention. What does paying attention actually look like? How can you show your partner that you are really listening to them with your tone of voice, with your body language? and really work at letting them speak and asking questions rather than interrupting them. This is a good one to do if you've got maybe 30 seconds each to speak and you're not allowed to talk about yourself whilst your partner is talking. You can only ask them questions if they get stuck and they don't know what else to say. Anyway, however you do it, take that time now and I'll see you when you're back. As I've already said, every year this transition, this leaving school and moving up a class will naturally bring up difficult thoughts for some of us. There might be lots of really pleasant thoughts like excitement as well, but often there's also a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of fear of the unknown, a little bit of worry about change. And this year we can probably times what normally happens by about 10 or 100 in terms of how many thoughts we might have. It's natural to be upset if you've not seen friends in a long time and you might be moving up classes in September. It's natural to feel upset, confused, and a bit sad if you've got to know a teacher and then feel like you've barely seen them and then you go into another one in September. Trust me when I say that teachers feel exactly the same way. You might also be worried about what school is going to look like and just unsure of what's going to happen in September. Maybe you're worried about how this change is going to affect you. Maybe you're worried that you're going to fall behind in class, that you're going to lose friends, that somehow things are going to be worse. And it's completely natural to not like the way that change makes you feel in your mind or body. A lot of us struggle with change. Even when it's a change that can be really positive, people can still find that really difficult. One thing that really helps with thoughts like this is to watch them from a distance. So remember, as we've spoken about before, instead of being inside the thoughts, I just want you to try and sit back, sit on the couch and notice those thoughts as if they are a channel playing on TV. It doesn't mean anything, there's no story attached. You just notice that's the thought that's playing right now. There's a thought about being excited. There's a thought about missing my friends. Just thoughts that are passing. Another thing that can really help, and this is what we're going to do today, is thinking about whether these things are things that you can control and change or things that you cannot change or control. On the screen now is a list of 10 statements that might be things that some of you are worrying about in terms of going back to school in September. I want you to have a go at talking through this with somebody else, or you can do this on your own if you are on your own. And I'd like you to sort this into things I can control and things I can't control. Take as much time as you need to really think about this, to discuss this, and as an extra challenge, if you had any other thoughts that aren't on here that came up in the last discussion, then get them on here as well and ask yourselves whether these are things that you can or cannot control. Off you go, and I'll see you when you're back. Okay, so there are a few things there that we cannot control. Things like what school looks like, what class we'll be in, who we'll be sat with. If we feel nervous, if things are sometimes hard and difficult, we cannot control those things, we cannot change them. But there's so many things that we can control. So maybe things will be difficult, maybe you will be nervous, but you can choose to focus on your breath. You can choose to go into the present using your senses. You can choose a confident form of body language, a calm, kind tone of voice. You can choose the kind of thoughts that you bin and the kind of thoughts you listen to. All of those things will help you to feel better, will help you to cope in those difficult moments. So really, this is about wasting less time worrying about things that we cannot change, and it's about directing our attention to a place where we actually can make ourselves feel better and even make things better for other people around us. So, your day 60 challenge is to notice whenever those difficult thoughts relating to change or transition, or really just any difficult thoughts come up. And I want you to ask yourself, is this something I can control? Or is it something I have absolutely no control over? And if it isn't something you can control, then ask, what could I do right now to take control in this situation? Could I send my attention to my breath? Could I use a different tone of voice? Could I take an action or say something, do something that would make me feel better right now? Keep noticing those thoughts from a distance and keep bringing your attention back to what you can control. That's going to make you feel a whole lot better. EBI is to share these thoughts with somebody else if you are comfortable. And one thing that I find really useful is to write it down. So I only did this last week. I was having a little bit of a wobble mood wise, and I wrote down, I got a sheet of scrap paper and I wrote down can control, can't control in a table, and I very quickly wrote down some different thoughts. Made me feel loads better. See if it works for you. As always, if there's any questions, any problems, anything you'd like more of or less of, then give an adult a nudge. They can share that to Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Details are on the screen. Next week, because it is the last week in school for many of us, I'm going to focus on change and transition. Don't miss it. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.